Does this sound like your child? My daughter has been tested for special ed and did not qualify. Her working memory and processing speed were low. So, one of the things that we talk about a lot and that parents are often very concerned about is testing and a label. And that special ed label, or my child has an individualized education plan, or IEP, is one of those label kinds of things. She's got a learning disability, she's got whatever. And one of the really important things to understand about these labels, whether it's ADHD or autism or specific learning disability or dyslexia or whatever it happens to be, is that label doesn't really tell us almost anything about how that child really learns best. And so we separate we have to look at the more specifics of what a child's cognitive skills are. And this parent mentions too, working memory. Working memory, of course, is the ability to hold information in our mind while we think about it, while we process. It keeps keeping it active. It's our conscious processing. And processing speed, of course, is the amount of time that it takes our brains to respond to incoming information and to make sense of it until we can start to respond. And these are two really important learning skills, cognitive skills. They're both referred to as executive functions. The third executive function is cognitive flexibility, which may or may not be tested in traditional assessments like this. But these are two, and actually processing speed, it may or may not be considered an executive function. It's often classified there because it is sort of this global mental process of handling information that will impact pretty much everything that we do. So what this suggests is that this student has some good learning skills, probably good reasoning skills, probably good memory skills, but her performance is got some stumbling blocks, and these are very real. So if you can't hold information in your mind while you think about it, so if your working memory is low, it will probably be the case that you will have difficulty following a set of instructions and remembering them. You might have a significant difficulty with reading comprehension. So when students struggle with reading, with retaining what they read, with remembering something and being able to retell you right after they've read something what it was about, if they have difficulty doing that, it may not be an issue of reading ability. It may very well be an issue of working memory, because that's where we hold all that information while we create meaning. When we create meaning, we compare what's going on in our minds, the information we've taken in, to what we already know. That is how we make sense of the world. If we have to connect it to something that we already know, teachers often think of this as prior knowledge and use that term. But it's really just if we don't know much about something, we don't have the context. We can't connect it to something we know. And so that's really important. And then processing speed is how long it takes something. So if you think about it, and often if you have weaknesses in these two areas, it's sort of like a double whammy, because processing speed is that time it takes for the brain to understand something. If working memory is weak and you can't hold on to it, then by the time you process it, which is happening a little more slowly than for your peers, that information may just be gone. And so when you have kids with working memory issues, you think, oh, maybe they're not paying attention, or they just are not listening, or they're just not obeying, they're not doing what we ask them to do. But very often it's simply that their brains don't hold on to that information. It's just gone. So, example, you have your child, tell your child, please go up and finish making your bed and grab your soccer uniform and then come down and make sure you grab a snack to take with you to soccer practice. So for lots of kids, that step of 3 instructions is something that is more than they can hold on to. And well, both in terms of the amount of information and the time period over which they can actually retain it and still be thinking about it. So if your child gets upstairs and then goes, "Mom, what did you say? What am I supposed to be doing?" It's not because they weren't paying attention. It's not because they want to give you a hard time. Most of the time it's because it's just gone. That information is gone. Their brains didn't hold on to it. Now, the great news is that skills like working memory and processing speed can be strengthened to a greater degree than most people realize. And what schools will typically do, and in fact, why this parent is probably concerned about her child not getting an IEP or not being classified for special education, is that the school isn't going to provide any accommodations. So it's not going to give her more time. It's not going to give her, a teacher who will know that she or he has to repeat information or give instructions one step at a time and things like that. Those would be provided for in an IEP, but without the IEP, this child might not get those supports. But here's the rub. All those accommodations and supports do is help work around those weaker skills. It's working around weaker working memory. It's working around slower processing speed. It's not actually helping build those skills so that they're there for the child to use, but they can be built. Cognitive skills can be strengthened with the right kind of cognitive training. Cognitive training needs to be comprehensive. It needs to be very engaging. It needs to be very integrated in terms of building skills so they can work together. And when that happens, we can see dramatic improvements. Really significant growth in a period of 12 to 14 weeks. So we have created a parent training session in which we talk about cognitive skills. We introduce all of these skills like working memory and processing speed. We explain them and talk about what they are. And then we also discuss how parents can help their children build these skills. And of course, the ultimate goal is to help kids who are struggling with learning overcome those struggles and become capable, confident learners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link to this training. It's free training. Parents really give us frequent comments about how helpful it is to really understand this for the first time, to understand what the new way versus the old way of helping children with learning struggles really helps them focus their efforts to better support their child. Anyway, so it's free. I hope you'll have a chance to show up there and learn from it. I'll be there, and I'll look forward to seeing you when you join the session.